to hit me over.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. It is Wednesday, January 11th. Meeting of the Local Development Corporation of the Town of Brookhaven. Following board members are here. Mr. Callahan, Pally, Mr. Polakowski, Mr. Braun, and on Zoom, Ms. Scheit, and Mr. Trotter. Minutes of our meeting of October 26th have been sent to everyone. I need a motion to accept those, please.
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
Are there any questions or corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Minutes of our meeting of November 16th have also been sent. Similarly, can I have a motion for those?
Motion.
Thank you. Simultaneous first and second. Are there any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are accepted.
I'm sorry, I interrupted Josh. Who made the motion and who accepted that?
Gary and Frank.
Thank you so much. That was my fault.
Lori, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, included in the package is the operating results versus budget for the month ended October 31st and also for November 30th. So I'm going to do them together, looking at November. So year to date, as of the end of November, where there was no project closings or anything like that. So pretty much our expenses are in line with what budgeted. And we're at a negative about 5,000 year to date, 74,000 negative, which is below what we budgeted. So we knew this year that we didn't have any activity. Any questions on the October and November actual versus budget report?
No.
Hearing none. Well, go ahead. You continue. That was-
Sure. One thing I want to mention is that all payroll taxes and related withholdings have been paid timely in accordance with federal and state guidelines. All regulatory reports have been filed in a timely fashion. Another thing I want to mention is that our external audit is starting January 23rd for the LDC. And that's in line with getting the audit done and approved prior to the filing required date of the end of March. And we also at the same time do the Paris report. Also, just to mention banking, our rates have continued. I go after them every few weeks and we're up to about 3% on the average for the accounts with the LDC with the bank. That's the end of my report.
Okay, the only thing I would add is that the fraud questionnaires been sent to everyone by the accountants. So I would appreciate you completing those again and back in as soon as possible.
We're good.
I need a motion to accept Larry's report.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Report is accepted. Please, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, so as this is our organizational meeting, we have a bunch of resolutions to do.
Mitch, what we've done the last couple of years is do these in groups of 5.
Okay.
If there are changes, Lisa will point them out, as we will do in the IDA too. And then we'll move to accept them.
Okay.
So resolution number 1 is the appointment of officers. I guess we need to do that again,
Yeah, we do it every year.
unless
And it's-
anybody's got a recommendation for change. We'll keep them exactly as is. Appointment of council.
Should
You
we just say
appoint
what they are? Okay, so Bill is saying we should go through and just point out that
Who the officers are? For the minutes.
just that Fred Braun is the chairman. You mean like go through everybody's title? Okay. Felix Grucci is our vice chairman. Marty Callahan is our treasurer. Frank Trotta is our assistant treasurer. Gary Polakowski is our assistant secretary. Anne Marie Scheit is our secretary, and Mitch Pally is a member. I'm impressed I did that. I knew everybody.
Did good, Elise.
I think the pressure's on.
Did good.
resolution number 2 is appointment of council, Nixon Peabody, and Howard Gross is in there as well.
Yes, and Annette
And
also. Yes.
thank you. Number 3 is the appointment of the bank. We have 2 banks. Lori?
Currently for the LDC, we only are using Flushing Bank.
Okay,
And we have two accounts. We have an operating account at Flushing for the LDC and an investment account.
and prevailing wage policy, are there any changes?
There's no changes until we get to number 13.
Okay, so for resolutions 1 through 5, I have a motion.
So moved, Gary.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Number 6, adoption of government financing audit committee. Number 7 is the adoption of the mission statement and measurement report. Number 8, adopting policy concerning board member loans, of which there are none. Number 9 is adopting compensation policy. Number 10 is adopting incentive and conditional compensation policy, also which there is none for the LDC.
And I just want to say, as far as the mission statement and measurement report, annually, we're supposed to review the mission statement and confirm that we have the same basic goals. So I left them the same as last year, unless anybody has any questions or thinks we need to adjust our mission statement at all.
Okay, thank you. Number 11. appointment of
Do we
website.
need to vote on 6 through 10?
We did.
We did vote on?
No,
No,
No, we
no,
did
not.
we did not.
Okay, there's a motion on the table.
I'll move to vote, adopt 6 through 10.
Thank you very much. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Number 11, appointment of the website design and maintenance consultant. Number 12, check signing authorization. 13, audit and accounting services. 14, adopting a travel and discretionary funds policy. Number 15, appointment of insurance broker. Please, any changes there?
yes, the audit and accounting services, we had a change, and Laura, you can go into more detail if you want on this, but we had slight changes in our fees for both PFK. They went from $3,315 to $3,480. So I think in the resolutions in the past, we've rounded it up and said not to exceed.
Right,
So maybe not to exceed 3,500 or 3,550 or,
right. And I think both of those fees for both the accounting services and PKF services is reasonable and in line.
yeah. And so the accounting services, it went from 1,200 to 1,260. So do you want me to put those actual numbers or do you want me to round them?
I would rather.
I'll go around them, yeah.
Okay, so not to exceed 3,500? That's only $20 of,
That's fine.
okay, and not to exceed 1,300.
Okay, for resolutions 11 through 15, motion.
So moved, Gary.
Second,
Second.
any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those resolutions are accepted. Number 16, the meeting schedule was previously distributed. Number 17 is the adopting of the conflict of interest policy. Number 18 is appointment of insurance risk manager. Number 19 is harassment policy. Number 20 is the fee schedule adoption. Any changes there? Motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
Second,
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Three more. on the back.
Three more.
Three more on the back.
Number 21 is a public relations firm. Number 22 is a shared services agreement between the LDC and the IDA. 23, newspaper of record. And number 24 is the acquisition of real estate property or real property, excuse me.
So there's a couple of changes in there. The shared services agreement, just to remind everybody, we had put together a policy or an agreement between the IDA and the LDC so that the LDC would pay into some of the shared services, some of the, we included meetings and events and membership,
Office costs. rent.
office costs, rent, and also our PR. And so we started that about a year ago, and we found that the cost to the LDC may have been more than the LDC was actually using. So what we're suggesting is that we drop those numbers down. So previously, it was 50% of the pro rata costs of the agency's marketing and events and membership would be paid by the LDC. What we're suggesting is we drop that from 50% to 25%. The shared services, office rent, office fixtures, FF&E, and the supplies go from 25% to 15%. And then also the PR firm go from 25% to 15%. Does that seem reasonable?
You think those are more in line with actual usage? That's the
Yeah.
point.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think when we just did this a year ago, but throughout this year, as we looked at it, it seemed like the LDC was paying more than what it was actually using.
Okay. At least you have a year of experience.
Yeah. And
Right.
we did a best guess and then adjusted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Okay.
that, and then also the acquisition of real property. This came out of an IDA website audit. We realized in the IDA that we didn't have this and we were supposed to. And the ABO did an audit of our website. And so they did not look at the LDC's website, but we said, well, if they said we didn't do this right in the IDA, we should probably be doing this in the LDC. And this was one of those policies that they said we had to have. But what we adopted last year, we basically took the IDA, what they told us the IDA was supposed to have, and tweaked it for the LDC. But then as we looked at it this year, I went, it doesn't even make any sense. So Annette helped me, and we ended up with a very, very brief policy that basically says the LDC is not going to purchase any real property, purchase, lease, or otherwise acquire real property. So we figured that sort of covered the reality for the LDC. And so that's the change for this policy and resolution.
Motion for resolutions 21 through 24.
Before you do that.
Question?
For record,
Newsday.
Newsday.
There was no change from last year.
Public relations firm is Todd Shapiro.
Todd Shapiro Associates.
Okay, and the newspaper Record, I didn't hear that.
Tuesday,
Just, yeah, I know, but what is it?
Newsday.
Thank you. Yep. I'd be happy to do resolution 21 to 23, 24.
thank you. Second,
Second.
any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those resolutions are accepted. Lisa, we have one other one, I think.
Yes, so,
Here we-
anyway, yes, we have a letter that was included in your packets from AOE, the American Organic Energy Project. What they asked for us to pass a resolution, an intent to reimburse resolution, and it basically, the letter explains that they are planning on applying for approximately $125 million of either taxable or tax exempt bond financing through the LDC. And as Bill can explain further, you have to pass a resolution. When you pass the resolution, then they can capture,
He's going back 60 days.
yeah, so it sort of starts their timeline for that.
Or previous ones that were recorded.
Yeah,
This is really ratifying, confirming all our previous.
yeah, we've done this a couple of times.
Yeah.
Would you expect this to take place prior to the completion of the project?
Under the tax law, they have 18 months from when the facility is placed in service or for the bonds. Yes, and they do that right as they're coming to completion, if they have the construction financing.
As an investor, I assume the investors would want to see completion before they buy these bonds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably be a C of O for the project, and then they, and they probably will have several months of operations before they. My supposition.
Motion, please. So motion from the board.
So move.
Thank you.
Second.
Second. Thank you, Gary. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And last but not least,
Okay, just, this is mostly housekeeping and just reminders. Included in your packets was the board assessment. Please fill that out and get that back to the office as soon as possible. And also the fiduciary response, fiduciary acknowledgement. So I don't even know if it was through that audit or how I came upon something that indicated that you're supposed to sign fiduciary acknowledgements for the LDC and the IDA annually. We haven't been doing that. So you're going to see this going forward, that I'm going to ask you for an update of this probably every January. And I also want to just remind you that your annual financial disclosures will be forthcoming. So I know over the years, there's been confusion because we send you guys a lot of things and you just send a lot of stuff back. So I thought it'd be helpful if we just outlined that there's more coming. As it comes to, please fill it out and return it to us as quickly as possible. If you have questions, just let us know. And the annual financial disclosure is going to be a different format this year. We're going to have you fill it out online. So it's going to be a little bit different.
Is that the one for the state?
Nope, that's different. So
Because the one for the state, if you're on multiple boards, as you know I am, you only have to do it once. So I've always done it for the Pine Barrens Commission. And they always accepted it for everything else. If the answer is no, I'll fill it out again. I'm just asking the
yeah,
question.
you know what, I'm not 100% sure, but we don't have anything that's from the state directly.
Okay,
So I'm thinking it's probably different, and we need to get a copy of it, so that might.
okay,
be
fine, then
problematic, but
that's fine. I said,
it's Probably redundant.
right, you filled out the same thing,
Yeah.
same thing. So,
Yeah.
okay, fine, not a problem.
I know some of this stuff is like pulling teeth, but particularly for
Yeah.
assessments, so if you get those back into us, I appreciate it. Anything else?
Yes, the only other thing that I wanted to mention is that right now, our next meeting is scheduled for February 15th. It's come to my attention that we
And
will not have 4 members in person on the 15th. So rather than just move ahead as if I didn't know that, I figured we should discuss possibly changing that date.
Any suggestions?
This is the February meeting.
Yes. And there's nothing that says we have to have the meeting on a Wednesday.
How about the
I'm
28th?
away the following week. The week of the 20th,
Okay,
President's
I'm
Day?
away, yes.
What about the 28th? Which is a
I
Tuesday.
push it too close to the March meeting.
I mean, we could do the 13th possibly, which is a Monday, or Valentine's
We could
Day.
just come on Valentine's Day.
Um, Well, it's January 11th. That's about.
I have a full day commitment on the 14th.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
on that week.
You're on too?
Yeah.
The whole week?
I haven't booked it yet, but
Yeah. Okay. Did
Just
anyone say
6th to the
Wednesday
10th
8th?
looks good.
Wednesday, the 8th,
That's
going
fine.
once, going twice.
That's fine for
Wednesday, the
me.
8th is fine with me.
That's
Okay.
fine for me.
But let me just make sure everyone who's saying it's fine
Here,
will be in here.
I'll be here.
Yes, yes, I'll be in here, yes.
Gary, you're good for
Right
me?
now, it looks good for me, but
Okay.
Because we need 4
We need
people
4
here.
people in
We need
person.
you, Gary.
I'm
Yeah.
here. I'm not going anywhere that week.
I'll be
my
here.
plan is to be here, yes.
Thank you.
What time?
We had talked about either having the option for noon or 8, and when I was sort of playing with it in my head, I thought maybe we should do the noon meetings in the winter months, so we don't have snow, although maybe it's not gonna snow this year, but
That, it always snows that week,
it does, and it always snows at our February
that
meeting.
first week, yeah.
So it doesn't matter. when
They
we
get
say it.
12,
Right,
Or what
so,
time?
but noon will be much, if it,
unless it's a blizzard.
so, does that sound good, February?
So we're
8th?
moving from the
At
15th to the 8th.
Eight sounds
Basically.
good. Fine by me.
Okay,
I don't have anything else.
In that case, a motion to adjourn the meeting of the Local Development Corporation.
So move.
So move, second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are concluded. We'll now move the Industrial Development Agency, Town of Brookhaven. It's Wednesday, January 11th. It is 12:29. Following board members are present: Mr. Callahan, Mr. Pally, Mr. Polakowski, Mr. Braun, and on Zoom, Ms. Scheit and Mr. Trotter. Our minutes of October 26th have been forwarded to everyone. I need a motion to accept.
So move.
Motion?
Are there any questions or corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor?
aye,
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes approved. Similarly, the minutes of our meeting of November 16th have been forwarded. I need a motion to accept those.
So
So
move.
moved.
Questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries as well. Lori, once again?
I would, you may want to just check on the 16th. It has Frank as present and then as excused.
I missed that one. Good catch, though.
You're excused, Frank.
For that, I get a double
But I'm
salary.
present.
Thank you.
Anytime, just wanted to make it clear. Okay.
Lori?
Okay, included in your package is the operating results versus budget for the period ended November. For the month of November, we had a termination, 1 termination, 4 document processing, 2 application fees. So that was our revenue number. And our expenses were pretty much in line with what is budgeted, normal and recurring expenses. Are there any questions on the November report? Then I'd like to go through just some housekeeping. All payroll taxes and related withholdings have been paid timely in accordance with federal and state guidelines. All regulatory reports have been filed in a timely fashion. Another item I just want to mention is we're starting our external audit on January 23rd. Again, our goal is to have everything done and filed timely, the audit with our Paris reports by the end of March. Lastly, banking, I just want to mention that the banks, we have 2 banks for the IDA. We have Flushing and also Hanover, and they continue to increase our rates. I keep on asking them. So they've, gone up somewhat in the area, a little over 3. And also a fraud questionnaire was being sent out to you from the auditors. So if you have any questions on that, or you want to send it to me, just let me know. I think I've gotten some already. Any questions?
Lori, oh. Yeah, I was just gonna say, have you compared rates with other financial institutions so that you could make sure that, we are getting the maximum, even though they are increasing it, but there's a lot of variables lately that I see going on, so I just bring that up.
We did. We definitely go look at all the financial institutions that are permitted to deal with local governments.
Yep.
And we're pretty much in line. We're increasing. And I've spoken with the other IDAs to see what they're getting. So we're even a little bit higher than some of the other ones.
I should have known the answer to the question. You already did it, but thank you.
Thank you.
Frank, we always have the issue of pledging a collateral over and above the FDIC insurance. So
Yes, I know.
moving that money around is not the easiest thing in the world.
No, and I don't want to do that. I just want to keep them honest, that's all. But thank you, Lori and Fred.
Yeah.
Just one thing I want to point out on the November results. We're in the process of finalizing December, and we're going to have some more adjustments, but we did have some closings in the month of December. So if you look at the results as the end of November, we were in the red, so to speak, a little over 200,000. And with those closings in December, it looks like that's going to go away. So it looks like we'll be break even or maybe even a little bit ahead of it. But there are some variables we have certain actuary liabilities for other post-employment benefits, for the contributions with ERS. So there are some things that I don't have right now, but roughly saying we will be in the black at the end of the year and we'll be ahead of budget. We had planned on a pretty much break-even budget for the year. It looks like we're going to be ahead of it, but I'm as conservative as anyone, but I don't want to say how much, but we did have a number of closings.
And just to fill everybody in, we closed on the American Organic Energy Project. That's the anaerobic digester. That was pretty exciting because we've been working on that for.
Yeah.
Not that
The
anybody's
original
A
counting.
long time, right?
7 or 9. Yeah,
Not that
maybe.
anybody's counting. It's been a little bit. So that was very exciting. We closed on that. We also closed on 22 Research Way, which is the operations and maintenance facility for the Sunrise Wind Cables project. So separate from that, not actually the Sunrise Wind Cables project, but their facility is for operations and maintenance and training. And we also closed on WF13. That's one of the spec industrial warehouse projects. So that one closed as well. All three of them at the very end of
11th hour.
December. And we can thank the Nixon Peabody team for getting those
Good
together.
job, Bill.
Any questions of Lori or Lisa? A motion to accept Lori's report.
So moved.
Second,
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Report is accepted. We do have an application.
Yeah, so the next item on the agenda is an application from EB at East Patchogue LLC. We have guests who are going to tell us a little bit about the project. I'm just going to mention that this is a proposal for 139 unit senior rental complex with 10% affordable and 10% workforce. And according to their application, the affordable component is more significant than even our UTEP requires. It's on 14 acres of vacant land on the west side of Sip Avenue in East Patchogue. It's approximately 177,000 square feet facility, and it's a roughly $54.6 million project. It'll create 5 full-time equivalent projects, and they're requesting mortgage reporting tax, sales tax exemptions, and a 20-year pilot.
5 full-time jobs, correct?
Yes,
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what you said. but that's all right.
And I think everybody knows we've done,
Yeah.
I think this is the 4th or 5th project, I
Yep,
guess.
yep.
With the EV
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
gentlemen,
Sure. Peter Curry, Farrell Fritz, 400 RXR Plaza, in New York, 11556. With me is Stephen Krieger and David Berman, both from the B2K Group, which is the successor entity to Engel Berman Group, and a rebranding. This is the last time we were here with you. And this is a project, Engel Berman at East Patchogue, the old name of the project. It's called Sutton Landing at East Patchogue will be the brand name. And as mentioned, we previously received benefits for Sutton Landing at Mount Sinai, and then the assisted living facilities in Holtzville, Lake Grove, and Mount Sinai. So this is a long and a very good relationship between the developer and this board going back more than 10 years. And we really appreciate the opportunity to bring this project to you and thank the board for considering it. I'm going to ask Stephen to speak a little bit more about the experience of the developer in general, not just in what they're doing in the town.
Sure. And for the record, we're, as Peter said, we're happy to announce a relocation called B2K development. And, for those of you who don't know, we're the founders of Bristol Assisted Living Chain. We started in 2000. The first IDA, I think, probably the first IDA finance in the state of New York for assisted living at that time with some tax exempt bonds. And we continued to do that for several years. We've expanded. After that, we started our business in Nassau, expanded into Suffolk. We did several Bristols in Suffolk County. Then went into Manhattan. We had 2 Bristols in Manhattan. Went to New Jersey. Long Island is our home. Develop on Long Island, focus our efforts in Long Island, although we are focusing in other areas of the country right now. Long Island will always remain our home and our main focus of investment. We went into contract and we started talking about this parcel many years ago. I think Peter just mentioned to me that the application, the original application, was something like 6 or 7 years ago.
I do accept those. The other applicant, yours is, we came to the board, however, I believe, 2019, 2020, we actually, if you remember the original frenzy to try to get applications in before prevailing wage kicked in. So we had an application at that time. The project has changed to some extent since then. It's a smaller project in terms of units. When we did introduce this project a couple of years ago.
We actually tried to buy Love B at the time, right? And we had bought Love B, we would have done a total cut rehab of that whole development. That being said, when this property became available, it was also owned by the Wallowitz family at the time. And when this land became available, we jumped on it and did everything we could because it would give us an opportunity to build a ground up development, which is what we're best at. We're doing over, in different townships, especially in your township, over the last, several years. So we jumped on it. And, our development that we last did, when we came to this board, the Sutton Landing at Mount Sinai has been successful for us. We leased up. There's been great demand. We're seeing great demand on Long Island still, 55 and older communities. And so we thought when this vacant land became available that we would continue on that tack. So we went to the town of Brookhaven and we needed to get a rezoning of the parcel, get some, some different land use approvals. We received those right now, and we're finalizing our approvals with the town of Brookhaven right now. And as I said, we do have our zone. We're getting our comments. We're going back and forth with the planning department with our site plan approval right now. That's where we are. We plan on having that, we hope, in the next 60 days. And so we're going to build more or less the same thing, the same type of unit that we built at Mount Sinai and Sutton Landing and Mount Sinai. That same concept, beautiful clubhouse. We have a 20% affordability component here. What we've done is we have 25%. So we rounded off. We have 139 units here. So it's taking that at 140 and saying that we need 28 affordable, 20% of 140. We have 7 units at 50%, 7 units at 65%, and then as I think your UTEP is 80%. So we have 7 at, as I said, 25% of the affordables at 50, 25% of the affordables at 65, and then the rest of the affordables, the other 50% will be 120% median. And look, we're asking for some relief here in the number of years. And the reason we're doing that is number one, we made the affordable more affordable. Number two, we all know that construction costs are off the charts right now. They're just crazy. And number three, I have to tell you, interest rates are doubling. Whereas the spreads, that banks are charging, not only have they increased, but the LIBOR and SOFR numbers that used to be, 25, 50, 30 basis points, which was less than 1% in interest, are now over 4%. So rates have gone from, spreads that might have been, 250 to 3, where your total all-in interest rate would have been 3%. The total all-in interest rate now is over 7, somewhere around 7%. So we still believe, in development on Long Island. As I said, it's our home, but we do need, we are respectfully asking additional help so we can bring this development forward.
So, as Stephen mentioned, the demand for this type of product is still there on Long Island. The overall market demand for new affordable, rental housing remains consistent at approximately 100,000 units. So all of the projects that people bring to you and all the construction that goes on, certain units being taken out, totally obsolete. We have this mountain and we're climbing it very slowly. And every new project that we can bring on is helping this immense shortfall, in this case, in the senior housing, senior rental housing, but the overall marketplace of the market rate and affordable housing continues to be dire. So every one of these projects assists in ameliorating that issue. So this development is anticipated to generate approximately 150 construction jobs. As mentioned before, there were 5 full-time jobs for the operation and maintenance of the development. And based upon the $54.6 million of project costs that we had put in the application, we submitted with our application the MRB report, which indicates the economic assistance that the project gives to the town of Brookhaven and actually the county. And as you can see, that based upon those hard construction costs and 150 construction jobs, there will be an additional 74 indirect reduced jobs during the construction period, resulting in an economic benefit of $14.5 million to the localities during the construction period. And then in connection with the operation of the project, the 53 indirect and reduced jobs, 5 jobs, and the annual effect of that would be approximately $2.9 million of additional economic boost, mostly in the town of Brookhaven. Average salaries for for the employees there will be $60,000 plus benefits. So these are decent paying maintenance and operation jobs. With that, I'd like to close out by, as stated previously, we are requesting abatements in the form of mortgage tax and sales tax and the 20. I'd like to open up the floor for any questions you may have.
Gary, look like you have a question.
No, I was wondering what we had given previously. Did we 10 years? I mean, I believe you're asking for 20 here.
I think what we've been doing for the housing project is 15, but we can go
Discuss
through as
this.
it gets further and.
We're just accepting an application today. That's
Yes.
so
Yes,
I just want to make sure.
yeah.
Frank or Anne Marie, question?
No, the need is obviously very strong for a project like this, affordable housing. I know the reputation of the builder. I mean, we've seen other projects. I wanted to ask, the only thing I wanted to ask was with regard to the pilot. If you could review that in relation, is this the South Country School District? This is within South Country, yes?
It might, it's either Pat Med, or it might be Pat Med. Hold on, we're gonna look.
It's in the application that somehow I just.
Yeah, I couldn't find it, but SIP Avenue is, I know the area.
Is this like the Mount Sinai project? Does it have assisted living or is it just strictly apartment? So it's
No,
different.
strictly apartments.
Strictly apartment. Okay.
Strictly
South
apartments.
Country School District.
South Country, you're right, Frank.
Yeah.
So
this
we're
is more
gonna, this is
workforce,
just the
correct?
application, Frank. So we're not
Yeah.
agreeing to anything here.
No, I agree. Okay.
Active adult.
So wood side.
And one thing I probably should mention, which I did mention before, is that the affordable units, there's no difference in the quality of the unit. So all units are required to have all of the same amenities, same access to all the exterior amenities that are in the community, pools, everything else. So each unit looks like every other unit. The fact that it's rented to people at 50% AMI or less has no effect on what they get. The same size, same everything is the same.
Any other questions?
The one thing I can say is I'm happy to see that a project like this is moving forward in this economy and with the financial, with banking issues and interest rates. Because the need doesn't go away because of these factors. So I appreciate this kind of a project being there, and we'll look at it very closely.
And that's exactly.
Frank,
why-
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, and Bill Weir and I are happy about it also.
Yeah.
Peter and I are moving
But
in.
that's exactly why. That's exactly why we're asking for the 20 years. The 20 years is very important to us to make this project viable.
Does the board have a motion to accept the application?
Motion.
Thank you. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed?
I recuse myself from the vote.
Understood. Thank you, Mitch.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Have a good day, guys. Good luck.
I really appreciate it. I'm gonna stay there.
I'm gonna take.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was gonna suggest. So,
Good luck.
we have one more piece of business that Peter is interested in. So I am going to ask that we skip to the HSRE EB Holtzville resolution. We received a letter. They're requesting the board's consent. They want to enter into a short-term extension with Wells Fargo. There's no new benefits being requested. I'm sorry, that's the, did I say this HSRE EB Holtzville project? Did you have anything to add? Okay, Peter, did you?
Yeah, if I could speak to it
Sure.
For a second, it's actually one of two that we're doing. And, as we stated, it's a little difficult. The whole financing world is a little kick the can down the road right now. So we have a short-term extension. That's all it is. It's just a letter of agreement. It's not even a major change in documentation. And we're seeking the permanent financing. So this was the financing for construction, 18 to 36 months after. So construction and stabilization, I would call it financing. Now that that period is over, we're going to be searching for the permanent financing, and because it couldn't be obtained in time, we got a short extension.
What's the extension date?
March 31st. I think it says to March 31st.
Yeah.
Yeah, enough?
Well, that's how
That's what
long the
they
letter
need.
is for. So, I mean, if the board would consider going for a longer one, so that any future execution of left to the administrative
I
only,
think they should
I'd be happy to have that.
I think we should go further.
We go June 30th,
That's great. Thank you very much.
June 30th.
Thank you.
Somebody care to move that? I will move
Oh.
it. Marty,
Yes, second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Why?
Opposed? And Bishop says.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fred suggested it. I wasn't sure that you really supported it.
But Peter, he didn't tell you he meant 2022.
I think for some of you might remember on a bus tour, my condo actually backs up to both the Sutton Landing and the Bristol.
Yes,
So
it
I
does.
watched every bit of their construction. And it was an interesting process. Occasionally, our condo had a couple of minor issues with them, and they were resolved right away. So,
But you still generally support
Yes,
Yeah.
and his wife got a lot of phone calls.
yeah, she did. No, talk about affordable housing. I think Monday, if I'm not mistaken, CDC has the lottery
Yes,
for,
Port Jeff.
yeah, for the
Yeah.
affordables.
I saw that.
in Port Jeff.
Yeah.
So I told Lisa, I went to the one which is at the firehouse in Quorum when that project, and it's crazy to watch the people
Yeah.
when their name is picked out of the hat for the.
The problem that it happens is that almost half the people who get selected can't get in because they can't meet the mortgage financing issues. That always
Oh.
happens. So while they are very happy there,
They're not-
that is not the end of the process.
Yeah, those are rentals.
Yeah,
So
yeah, hopefully but they still have to meet certain
Credit.
financial
Yeah, there
criteria
are
and credit
criteria.
criteria. So,
I think, we have an application for the property right next to that.
yeah,
Oh, the one going down to the village.
Yeah.
yeah,
Gotta clean that place up.
I go by it every time I go to Mather.
You want to get through the others, then we'll come back to the organizational.
Sure, we can skip over the organization, we'll keep going and then jump back to them. So then the next item on the agenda is CD Ramsey. Just to remind everybody, a few years ago, we did a project, this is in the Shirley Industrial Park. They make biologic products. It's sorry, something very sciencey. How's that? I have it, I can find it.
Energy?
No, it's not energy. No, it's, sorry, I just
Medical?
blanked on what it is. Okay, they manufacture and distribute laboratory and biologic, I wrote projects, that's not right. Products. So that's what they do. So we already have one of their facilities on this parcel, and they have come back to us and told us that they would like to build a standalone additional
Project.
facility.
You're right there, Lise?
Sorry. Also on the same piece of property. This is 18,500 square feet is what they're proposing. We did a public hearing December 22nd. In your packet, you can find the cost benefit analysis and the pilot, and the cost benefit analysis says what they did. There were no comment at the public hearing, and this is a final authorizing resolution.
So in reality, they're building a second building on the same parcel they built the first building on.
From what I understand, they didn't want to add on to the building because they have clean laboratory space,
Right.
and if they busted through a wall, it was going to interrupt that. So they felt it was better for them with their workflow just to put it on the other corner and have people sort
But
of,
it's on property they already own.
yeah,
That's
it's on the
point.
same parcel
Right.
that the
Okay.
first building is on.
Okay,
Just tell them to do their landscaping better than they. It always looks ratty whenever I go through there.
Did it look ratty when we did the bus tour?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But maybe because they knew that they were gonna be building something else, they didn't want to invest a lot in plantings because it was just gonna get dug up and disrupted.
There you go.
Fine. And we need a resolution.
Yes, we
So
do.
moved.
Thank you, Gary.
second,
Thank you. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No abstentions, motion carried.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a resolution for the MS packaging project. This is an existing building. We've had this project for quite some time. It's on Zorn Boulevard in Yaphank. Basically, they came to us and said that they have, we have a second project under construction in the Shirley Industrial Park, but this is the Zorn Boulevard. Apparently, they have two entities and their request letters in our packet, two entities, Great White Packaging Corporation and MS Packaging and Supply Distribution Corporation that are located in the facility. And we just felt that we should do a tenant agency compliance agreement with them since they had these other entities. And Howard, if you want to add anything to this, but they don't have employees and they don't really have dedicated space necessarily, but they are there in the facility.
By the same people, and they're just affiliates of the other of the main company, and they, like Lisa said, they don't have employees or anything, just they use it for other purposes within their business. So we thought it'd be prudent for them to be carrying insurance and things of that kind.
So does
Did you hear
anyone
me?
have-
Yeah.
Howard,
Oh, okay.
does anyone have any questions?
We have a motion.
So move.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
Gary. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Thank you.
Folks, I need to sign out for a minute. We're having a second day of reviews of an set of Office of Naval Research energy projects that we're doing. I expect to be back shortly, but have to be there for the liftoff. So see you again
Thank you.
soon. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
See you. Take care. Em.
Have fun.
It's always fun.
So the next item on the agenda is WF Industrial 12 LLC. So there's a couple of things just to bring to your attention. Included in your packet was an amended application. So there were a couple of little changes from the original application to what we received recently. Project costs and then the subsequent sales tax. I think those were the big items that were impacted. And just so everybody knows, this is a proposal for 3 one-story spec warehouse distribution facility, 3 buildings, each are one-story warehouse facilities. It's a 550,000 square foot total facility on the North Service Road or north of the LIE. And we had the public hearing this morning. There were no comments. And we have representatives from the project here. Dan Baker is their counsel. So this is a final authorizing resolution. Should we accept the application also? Yeah. We should also accept the updated or amended application. But does anyone have any questions?
Where's this piece of property? And it's a
By
dog-
exit 66.
Yeah.
You'll see the destruction of trees.
They've already cleared some of their property.
Where they have a clearing.
Is that
Yes.
where the old movie theater used to be?
No.
To the north
The other
side.
On the other
side.
side. Okay, all right.
That's because
Further.
clearing is restricted on Long Island to 3 months.
Correct.
And if you don't get clearing done by the end of February, you can't start.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
that's
of the
why.
long-eared
We're
bats.
trying to
Because of the
protect the
bats.
bats.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Ben, any discussions with regard to a tenant?
Is it?
Not that I'm aware of yet, and this is, I think, intended to be three separate spaces, but nothing that I'm aware of. Zach Campbell is joining me right now. If he knows of any, he can let you know, but typically with these types of projects, the real deal doesn't come along until you're at the very least in the ground and going.
What type of tenants are would be potential, just to get a sense of the usage of the building?
Sure, Zach, you want to handle that?
Sure. So I can say we have gotten interest from a number of tenants who we are working through and understanding their needs. We do find that one of their first questions are, do you anticipate to get IDA benefits on the property? the types of tenants that we're seeing are, your typical warehouse users that you see in the area, as well as government or semi-government agencies, utility agencies, things like that.
I still don't have a sense of it. I'm sorry, Zach, of what would be stored in there. What kind of, we talking about lumber? We're talking about, chemical.
It could be,
I mean,
yeah,
it
could be
any of the above.
It could be any of the above.
Okay.
Non-hazardous is really the only kind of restriction of note, but it could be construction products. It could be products for sale, general warehousing, anything like that.
Okay.
Storage of materials primarily, though.
Okay. And you're looking at three separate units. Is that the configuration?
Correct. There's 3 separate buildings, so we do expect at least 3 different tenants, in all likelihood.
Okay.
Is there a possibility that one or more of those buildings would be broken up to smaller units?
There is a possibility. We have the flexibility on our end to subdivide the buildings no smaller than, say, 50,000 square feet. We're finding from the conversations that we're having that the typical tenant size is anywhere from 50 to 150,000 square feet. And these buildings range from 160 to 200,000 square feet.
Other questions?
Fred, any correlation between this and the study that we did? We feel comfortable with that?
I don't think anything's changed. I think our
Okay.
position has been all along that, some of these probably won't get built. The ones that are in the ground early will be more successful.
But
Nothing's
I would
changed.
also just point out, so everyone's aware, Lisa had referenced earlier the 3 end-of-year closings, one of which was also the same developers. So WF stands for Wildflower. Wildflower is the parent or main company. WF Industrial is what they use for the single purpose or entities that they use here. But again, they've just closed one of these that they're going to build in Medford, and I've been working with them in other jurisdictions and have seen no sign of having issues with building them out and getting them occupied quickly.
Questions?
No.
None. Entertain a motion.
Motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
Gary? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Excellent. Thank you all very much.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Should we keep going or jump back into the organizational? Well, listen, I can do this. You
just
guys
have
are
one more
getting,
thing, right?
yeah, you're getting the confirms from PFK. You got the board assessments, please fill them out and send them in. You got the fiduciary responsibility, please send that out. Be aware that the annual financial disclosures are forthcoming. Like I said, in the LDC, you're going to get those in a different format this year than previously. And the only other thing that we have to talk about is, I just want to confirm on the record for this meeting that we are moving the IDA board meeting to February 8th at 12:05, but noon also.
Resolution.
Yeah, do we need a resolution to move
Yeah.
the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, so do a resolution.
So move.
Second. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so now let's go back into the organizational resolutions. Well, I'll start your spiel for you. So as we've done in the past, we're going to take them in groups of 5, and I will chime in if we have anything that has changed or needs to be addressed. And the first 5, we're going to take an executive session.
Number 6, appointment of legal counsel. This is Annette, Howard Gross, Nick Peabody, Bill Weir. Number 7,
And that one I did change. So in years past, we had only appointed Annette as general counsel. And last year, you guys said for this year going forward, we should include both our bond and transactional counsel. So I incorporated those names and information into it.
number 7 is appointment of insurance broker of record. Number 7 is slate of IDA board officers.
Please try it again.
Okay, let's see if I can get it twice. Fred Braun, our chairman, Felix Grucci, our vice chairman, Marty Callahan is our treasurer, Frank Trotta is our assistant treasurer, Anne Marie Scheit is our secretary, Gary Polakowski is our assistant secretary, and Mitch Paley is a member.
Very good.
Changes, anybody want to make?
No.
Okay. Number 9 is adoption and establishment, appointing of governance, finance, and audit committee. Number 10, adoption of the fee schedule. Vote for resolutions 6 through 10. Any other changes? Motion, please.
So move.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 11, office rental of the town of Brookhaven. Number 12 is the hourly requirement. Number 13 is our meeting schedule, which was previously distributed.
And recently updated.
Number 14 is the appointment of the website design and maintenance. Number 15 is banking and investment.
And the only change I have is on number 11, the office rental at the town of Brookhaven. I talked to Annette and we redid this resolution so that it just basically says going forward, we are going to pay the contract that we have. So we're not going to do this resolution next year.
Could you have written lease now?
Yeah, we have a written lease.
Okay. There you go.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, let's move to number 15, I guess.
We didn't get a motion.
We approved it without a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Gary.
I'll second.
All right, let's
Thank
try
There
again.
you go.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Number 16 is the adoption of mission statement measurement report. 17, the adoption of the town of Brookhaven's ethics policy, procurement policy, and property acquisition disposal policy. Number 18, adopt the uniform tax exempt policy. Number 19, adoption of the compensation policy. Number 20 is adopting a policy concerning board member and employee loans, of which there are none.
So the only edit we have in this group is for the mission statement and measurement report. Annually, you're required to review the mission statement and see if you want to make any changes. And if you don't have any changes that you want to make, we can leave that alone. And I also updated the goals that we have to report, and I left them the same as they were last year.
So move.
A motion on 16 through 20. Thank you. Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 21, adoption of a prevailing wage policy. Number 22, adopting the adaptive reuse policy. Number 23, delegating and authorizing execution of IDA documents. Number 24, adopting an incentive compensation policy. Number 25, longevity. Changes?
Yes, so we updated the incentive compensation policy to, we updated the goals for next year. And then, and we can go over them if you have questions. And then longevity, there was a small clarification edit. There was like a word that was a little bit off. So it was probably just Scrivener error, but we just added in one word to make sure that it's clear that it was an annual thing. So does anyone have any questions on those?
Motion?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 26, adoption of deferred compensation program policy. The 27, holiday schedule. The 28, adopting a travel and discretionary fund policy. Number 29, adopting an accrual policy for full-time management employees. Number 30, adopting an accrual policy for full-time non-management employees.
We have two edits on this. The holiday schedule, typically what we've done in the past is follow the town's lead on days that the office, holidays, days that the office would be closed. And the town recently removed Lincoln's birthday. It's no longer a holiday in the town on Lincoln's birthday, and added Juneteenth. And so we have the flexibility to do whatever you want as far as adding or removing, or, you know, leaving it the same, adding them both, getting rid of them both. It's really your call on it.
Juneteenth is a federal holiday. It
Juneteenth is
should
a
be included.
federal holiday. We should take it.
So why don't we just adopt the same policy the town has?
That's my recommendation
Yes.
as well.
And then the other edit that we have is the full-time non-management employee accrual policy. I don't know if you recall last year, we tried to clean it up because the way that the accruals, we adopted a bunch of stuff. We followed the town's policies, but then it didn't really fit with the way we do things a little bit different than the town does. And it was always a little bit awkward. It always had some weird like number that went on forever. And so Lori went through them all and cleaned them up so that they were even numbers, basically. They would end it in something that didn't go on for a million years. And we're in a mood. Thank you so much. But what we realized when we did that was we made some changes for people who were going to be hired in the future. And as we didn't hire anybody, so it didn't matter. But when I looked at it this year, I said, I don't think it really makes sense. So instead of having when the new employee reaches their full accruals, instead of accruing 48 days, they will accrue 36 days. We dropped it back from where it was. We pulled it down a little bit, and it's after 11 years of employment. So, and it's there's nobody there, so it's not even real now. It could be in the future. So that's the only edit that I proposed on that one, if all of that made sense.
Motion to accept numbers 26 through 30.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Number 31, audit and accounting services. Number 32, adopting a bereavement policy. Number 33, conflict of interest policy. Number 4, appointment of insurance risk manager. And number 35, approval of unlawful harassment and unlawful sexual harassment prohibition policy.
Okay, so I have a couple of edits on this. For the audit and accounting services, we had slight changes for our accounting services from 1,450 to 1,520. And if you agree with, like we did in the LDC, I think we should say not to exceed 1,600 for accounting services. And for our audit, it went from 22,545 to 24,000 even, so not to exceed 25,000.
Yes.
Okay, and the insurance risk manager. So we've been working with our insurance risk manager for a few years now, and it's I think, you know, council can interject, but I think it's been a positive experience for everybody, and we are much more tight with our insurance than we had been in the past. One of the ways that our contract was set up when we initially engaged with her wasn't really making sense for the reality of what we're finding now. So I made suggested one change in the contract that basically says, and then you tell me if I send it to you if you think it's okay, but basically that we had worked in a cap of 3 hours. We wouldn't pay her for more than 3 hours of work, but we're finding that some of the projects have to come back a bunch of times, and the 3-hour cap is not really realistic with the way that the projects are flowing. So we said a cap of 3 hours, unless she comes to me before the end of before she bills us and says, hey, it looks like we're going to be over the 3-hour cap. And just so the board knows, the projects pay that fee. So it's not money that the agency is spending typically. On a rare occasion, if we need her to do work after a project's already closed, we pay it and we sort of calendar it to see if later on we can recapture it, but that's it. So does anyone have any questions?
That's for resolutions 30 through 35.
31 through 35.
35, yep.
Wait till
Okay. Is there a motion?
Motion.
All right, second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Starting at number 36, approval of 2022 incentive compensation. 37 is jury duty. Number 38, employee health insurance. Number 39, cancer screening. And number 40, appointment of a public relations firm.
I'm going to suggest that we take number 36 in executive session. And number 38, we made some changes to our dental plan. I worked with Fred on these, but I just figured I would mention them. We realized that we were paying more for our dental plan than we were getting in benefits, so we made some adjustments. There was a slight increase in the cost, but not dramatic, and so I just wanted to mention that. It doesn't actually change anything in the resolution, it just seemed like an appropriate time to mention it.
Okay, on resolutions 37 to 40, we'll defer number 36. Motion,
So moved.
second.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 41, supplemental benefits insurance. 42, the shared services agreement. 43, the newspaper record. Number 44, acquisition of real property. That's it?
And then we have one more, but it's going to go in executive session.
Okay.
So number 42, just like we discussed in the LDC, I'm suggesting that we adjust the percentages in the shared services agreement. Basically, what we did before was 50%. Right here, 50% for costs of marketing and events and membership. We're suggesting that it goes from 50% to 25%, and then from 25 to 15 for all other shared services, including but not limited to office rent, office FF&E, and office supplies, and then also 15 from 25% to 15% for the reimbursement for our PR firm, Todd Shapiro Associates.
So that, in reality, this shared services agreement will be the same as the other shared
Yes,
services agreement.
Correct.
They are
Yes.
supposed to be intertwined.
yes, they are exactly
Got it.
connected.
Okay,
So on resolutions 41 through 44, a motion.
So moved.
Second,
second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unless there's anything else, we need a motion to go into executive session.
So
Yes,
moved.
to discuss
Personal matters.
personnel. Yeah.
Personnel matters.
Is there a second? We're ready?
Yeah, I can.
Here we go.
That's a problem these days. We're all doing that.
Yeah.
Need a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved. Second.
Second, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No votes took place in the executive session. Need a motion to approve resolutions 1 through 5.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Need a motion to approve resolution number 36.
So moved.
Thank you. I'll second. Question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And last but not least, we need a motion to approve resolution number 45.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anything else to be brought before this august body? Council?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, Frank.
Happy and healthy new year to everybody.